Hello everyone, this is Tanya from Professor Tanya Speaks, and today we're going to be talking about progress reports. But before we do, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know whenever I release a new video. Now let's talk about the progress report. Now, the progress report is the report that you write whenever you need to let your audience know the progress that you have made. So, let's say you're a student and you've been put in a group and you have a group project to work on. Your instructor may ask for a progress report because they want to know if you guys are on target, if there are any problems, if there are any hitches, if there's any interpersonal communication issue, and they don't want to be surprised at the end. So they may ask you for a progress report. Or you may be doing a dissertation. Once again, you're still in school, and your supervisor wants to know what progress you have made because they want to be sure that you are on target. Or you may be at work, and once again, you have a project to complete, and maybe you're doing the project on your own, or it's a group project, but it's at work. And your boss, your manager, your supervisor wants to know the progress you have made. So they may ask for a progress report. And a progress report is an important report because if there has been a delay, then they need to know that before the end, because that delay could cost them time, money, resources, and they don't want to be surprised when you come to them maybe a week before it was expected to be finished and say, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to meet that deadline. So therefore, the progress report helps to keep you accountable, and it helps the reader or the audience or whoever would read the project report. It helps them to know where you are at so that they can plan accordingly. Now let's look at an example of a progress report. So the example that I'm going to show you is taken from the Guidelines for Business Writing by Ron Blake and Lisa Moretto. Now, there's a textbook that I used to use some time ago. I'm no longer using it, but because of their pyramid approach, I've always referred to it. For business writing, they encourage what they call a pyramid approach, which means that every time you write, you think in terms of this pyramid, where you always begin with a summary statement and then you give the details. So this is a general structure that you can use for any kind of report or any kind of business document. Now let us look at the actual structure for the progress report. So for the progress report, which is on page 40, you can look at this graphical representation first because it helps you to make sense of what is to be included in your report. And if you are a visual learner, it may make it a little bit easier for you. So once again, you start with the summary. Let me see if I can make this any bigger, just for those who may be on devices. Okay, it's a little bit bigger here. So you begin with a summary, which will be a brief synopsis of the progress achieved and its effect upon the schedule. So from the very start, you need to tell the reader if you're on schedule or if you are not. Then you give some background information, which is just giving them the context of the situation and what it is that led to you needing to write this progress report. And then you tell them the progress. So first you want to tell them the work that was planned. That's one. Then two, you want to tell them the work that was actually done. Then three, you want to tell them the problems that you encountered, which will affect the work. And then four, you want to tell them the impact of these problems on the schedule, meaning how will the schedule now change? And then you want to tell them about the new plans and the adjustments. and then you need to give them whatever evidence they may need. So this is a basic structure that you can follow. But, depending if you're in a business communication class, your instructor may want to do it a little differently. This is a general idea, but your instructor may have different things that they want included or not included. But this is a basic structure that you can follow. Now let us look at an actual report. And as we go along, let us keep in mind what the structure looked like just to see how it translates into the actual report. So this is a memo, and as I said, it is dated. It says 2002, which is like really long ago. But to, from, subject, date. And this was when things were not being done electronically. Now, you may remember that in a previous video, I spoke about the paper memo. This is when we were using paper memos. You actually would have inter-office memorandum at the top. This, of course, is the letterhead because it's internal, and this is the name of the company. To, from, subject, date. Times have changed. Yes. Okay. Now, if you remember the pyramid, we said number 1 was where you give the summary, which would be the synopsis of the progress achieved. And you'll notice it says, my study of the caribou calving areas used by the porcupine herd of caribou has been delayed by lack and inaccessibility of data. So immediately they tell purpose for writing, I doubt whether I will be able to complete the study before September 15. A busy manager doesn't necessarily need to read more immediately because the manager now knows there's going to be a delay. Don't expect it before September 15. And that's the direct approach. You don't want to wait until the end. But because it's a progress report, from the very start, you want to say what has happened. Number 2. Now, we said number 2 was when you give the background information, when you tell the situation and the events leading up to the report. So this study is being done for the Northern Power Commission to determine the boundaries and dates of calving so that specific areas can be designated as restricted zones during the calving season. Currently, I am working out of Old Crow in the Yukon. Canadians, I know you know where all of this is, right? So that's the number 2. No, you're never going to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when you're writing your actual report, but it's good at the start when you're planning, just so that you know what to include in each section. Number 3, the progress. I have defined the eastern and western limits, blah, blah, blah. Number 4, what's the work done? I have identified 3 approach routes, blah, blah, blah. And here it's bulleted and it's parallel through, nice graphic highlighting. Then number 5 is where you would tell the problems encountered. And then that's right here. Planned work, work done, problems, and schedule. Now, when you get a chance, when you finish watching this video, of course, you can always come back and slowly match the numbering system in the pyramid to this actual report so that you can see how each section translates. And at the end now, it says, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be traveling with an interpreter to interview Inuit in very small communities north of Old Crow and as far east as Aklavik. During this period, it is unlikely you'll be able to contact me. And then Marjorie, because it was a paper copy. So this is basically your progress report. Like I said, depending on your audience, you will then decide on how much to include, what to include. Sometimes more details may be required. Maybe you have to attach bills or whatever, but whatever is required, you will include. But this is a basic format that you can follow. This is the structure that you can expect for a progress report. So that's an example of a progress report. And once you have the graphical representation, especially if you're a visual learner, that will help you to decide on what to include and in the order to include it. And once you've done your first draft, then it's time to look about those little things that will take it from just regular academic writing to business writing. You want to make sure that you have the you attitude, positive language, the active voice. Then you want to make sure that you enhance readability. You want to underline wherever you need to underline. You want to have some boldface font sometimes, maybe italics. You want to have bulleted lists. You want to make sure that your sentences are not more than 20 words. And you want to ensure that the reader has a variety of sentence types, some simple sentences, some compound sentences, some complex sentences, all the things that we discussed in this video. But you want to make sure that your writing works well and that it is beyond academic writing and that it is actually business writing. Now, once you put everything together, you've gotten yourself a good progress report. So I hope you learned something new today, or I hope you were reminded about how to write a progress report. And if you have a progress report to write, I hope this will help. So remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that whenever I release a video, you'll be the first to know. So until I see you in the next video, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.